Hello everyone, how's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's resume our play of Disco Elysium, shall we? Picking up where we left off, talking to the deserter, and see if this is the killer indeed. I'm shining the flashlight on his eyes. You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old. 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took.
For what?
For reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
Yes, we all have a tiny bourgeois person in us trying to run away.
He does not seemingly react to what you said. Only his right brow moves a little. He does not believe a police officer is genuinely revolutionary.
Oh, I can show him my proof.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook, but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower.
He gestures toward it.
Huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland. In the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened of the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
He looks at the sky. What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
What?
That the bourgeois are not human.
I've always suspected the same,
Now is not the time, Lieutenant Yefreto.
the lieutenant says gently.
I had to fight it. I could not stop anymore.
What is this place, this island?
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender.
What's it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing, retaking the Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
Coalition military.
Iblis,
Iblis?
the black-eyed angel.
How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
What do you steal?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
He coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stew, too.
He does seem frail. Gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
We have Dramamine and other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain.
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his dry lips. This is a serious situation. You need to be looked over, and we can do it.
There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
I could say something, but the lieutenant's about to say something.
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes. His face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
How could you have concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the tens. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead.
How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
The weapons cache under St. Ghislaine in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
They were.
Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker under the Fell building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
One more question. Do you smoke T.O. Mortuary cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoke them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender.
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste d'Insolande. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
You never signed the Revacholian Instrument of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
he just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honorable.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class.
So you're a communist soldier from the Communist Army?
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
What's a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm also a communist.
No, you're not. You're a liberast.
No, really, I have communist thoughts in my head.
All the real communists are dead. They died fighting for communism. Are you dead? No, you're an inert lump with a gun.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body.
I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with that gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Did you use that gun to shoot and kill the mercenary on the coast?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The corpse in ceramic armor. His name was Lele. He was part of the security detail in Martinez. No. We got to talk to him. The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth the night of the 4th.
Oh, yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step toward him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession.
Here comes the proof.
The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something
The flower.
you can't remember.
No, the flower.
Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
Oh, his footprints. Maybe he was watching. Because the boot prints are his. We've done the ballistics. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
The view was perfect. With a pair of binoculars, I could have seen in the room.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I don't need your cooperation. I got this.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun, not like your little musketeer pistols. I've seen you prance around with those, jumping hoops for the liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
Dramatically ask. You think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it. We have the weapon. Good. The lieutenant takes out a notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tying things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man does not say more. He just glances into the reeds, then twitches once more.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
Come on, what am I forgetting?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells.
That's right.
The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh, yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you
That's
got
right.
there. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course. Thank you, Head. Thank
You
you.
got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul.
There were Maybells behind the victim's window.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them.
He seems tender suddenly, nostalgic even. A strange mood swing.
So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away.
I haven't seen these flower anywhere else in Martinez, only here.
They blossom on the islets before. We fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may.
A curious tremor passes his face. A young woman called Classy. Ring any bells? These dried flowers were behind her window. Classier.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
Yes, you hadn't heard the name, had you?
My ears don't reach the city.
You know her, right? She had intimate relations with the victim, the mercenary.
With the victim.
He turns his sight from the whitening field of flowers and falls silent. Then the muscles in his jaw twitch, a spasm.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out warning shoes on his feet. Well, that's not good.
The maker is called Censored, and the size is 42 to 44.
So the spiral pattern is not right, but the size is right.
These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer, armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer, dripping with blood.
He was a killer, but he still wasn't under the protection of he was still under the protection of the law.
Beating us to the ground, moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner.
We got him.
Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
He breathes through his flared nostrils.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
So you shot him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
You can almost see him squeeze a tear out of his eye. His fists begin to tremble from anger.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
Hold your breath.
I had them in my sights. Both of them. Him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth.
He begins to smile.
I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her.
Then what?
Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white, or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
The lieutenant asks after a second of silence.
Yes.
A single word is all he gives. Whoa!
And you were looking at Dan, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The lieutenant takes out his notebook slowly, very slowly.
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
He shrugs, then smacks his lips.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from. You can coax it out of him. The lieutenant's preparing the ground.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
Why were you looking at them this night?
I'm always looking.
He cocks his head to the side, then turns his eyes to the city. Another tremor passes his right side, lower in intensity.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
You pull the trigger?
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
What specifically did you not like about what you saw the night of the murder?
Them. Fucking. I didn't like that.
So you were jealous?
Jealousy. is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second, writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. And now he longs to see her covered in blood, to punish her.
How long have you been watching her?
Since she came to Martinez. I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a flag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
What do you think she hid there?
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Seminine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Some kind of hidden container on the coast? You looked into it?
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this.
Yep, we should
Did
have.
you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to film. Oh, I mean...
Moving on, did you continue watching her?
I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks, and a body hard and lean and bruised all over, black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook, on the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair. I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
He's setting it up for you. The bruises, you can't make that out in a scope.
And you could see her bruises through the scope of a rifle.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
Well, let's see if I can make this.
He must have.
I
climbed
failed.
To the roof, maybe.
How'd you get close enough to see the bruises?
I have my ways.
A cracked smile.
You've been through the secret route behind the whirling in rags. Those were your footprints. You just changed your shoes.
I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny.
Thank God, the lieutenant is picking it up.
Thank God, indeed.
But that noob too?
The lieutenant does not let you finish.
Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny, the way light works. You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
He keeps shaking his head.
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
He points toward the whirling in rags.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
You wanted to punish her, so you killed him?
She practically breastfed that man. You wouldn't believe the things she let him do to her.
He shakes his head and stares at the
While he
ashes.
stands here and rots.
You saw through her, so did I.
You're delusional. There's nothing to see in the soul of the bourgeois woman. It's the same as the surface. Sick hedonism and desperation.
I'm not like that. I don't think like that.
No one gives a shit what you think. You and your cronies kill 10 working-class men a day. I've heard the statistics on Channel 8.
You had feelings for that woman.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye on something there. It's weakness, I know.
Was that why you left the flowers behind her window?
No,
He starts to shake his head again. Why?
I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes.
When was this?
The day after I killed him.
And you brought her Maybells.
Yes. I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
Say nothing.
Neither does he. He lowers his head, like a sunflower on a withered stalk. In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more.
So in conclusion, it wasn't about him, it was about her.
Her.
He repeats, staring at the ashes, then the reeds. There's a twitch in the corner of his
The
eye.
lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days.
She got away, but she led us here first. She figured out someone was watching her from the sea fort.
Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week at the island, like she knew. She'd look at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day, cigarette by cigarette.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years? You could get more out of him. He likes talking.
He likes it.
Enough. Take him in. Bend his arms behind his back and end this.
Been looking at anything else you haven't
A
liked?
tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put, put, put of hatred.
More specifically?
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house. Stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst.
How come?
Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries. Pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that social democratic union and the farce of a social democrat who runs it.
Mr. Clare?
Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class.
Let him finish. Do not interrupt.
Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs.
They got a church. Nod.
The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too.
He's dead.
Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamorang, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children.
Okay then, is a good response. Say nothing.
That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead.
Just nod.
We did good when we pushed him under that horse car. If only, in the 30s, those disco whores.
What follows is ominous mumbling. You cannot make out a single word.
Disco whores are too much. Hatred shuts down his brain's language center, leaving only a nonsensical sputter.
Hey, I'm Disco.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
There was something about the statue.
Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination.
Abomination?
The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine, cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic. He was just mad.
And he still went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues too. Hundreds of them.
But it's
What
still
a
there.
keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why?
Because the king is holy and his statues are indestructible, but mean it ironically.
No. Cynical design cockroaches like you erected a new, ironic version of it. We tore it down with honest working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata.
Hey, well, Egghead would enjoy this. Disco whores?
Whores.
Is all he says. Even the word has to be pushed through his teeth with great force. The rage seethes too hard. You mentioned the Union is social democratic and Mr. Clare is a farce of the social democrat?
Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. placating the masses.
Disappointment. So personal. He displays a familiarity with the Union's top brass.
Who's a disappointment? Everett?
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, the brains of the operation. The smart one.
Doesn't Everett run it?
That mobster toad couldn't run a shithouse. He has no political education. His twin, Edgar Clare, that one's been to one of those East Revachol universities. He talks a big game about uprising and alienation and so on.
You talked to him?
First against the wall with him.
He stopped poking at the ash now, just shaking
The
his head.
Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Have you approached him?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains.
He points to the path leading to the tower.
Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things.
When was this?
20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
What'd you talk about?
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzov. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzov. Oh, and charity too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought.
And he let you be here.
Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
Mr. Dross, did you kill the Krenel mercenary for the Clares to incite a riot?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them. But he's insinuating something.
Talk to Everett about previous forewoman. What was the deal between him and Edgar?
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
20 years ago, when you met Edgar, the Clares didn't run the Union yet, did they? A sputter from the old man.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
Who did?
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker.
His eyes glistened suddenly with hatred. She was also a woman, wasn't she? Like that Clausier.
She was. And she was real soft on those money men. Had a Barbara Muskova bag over her shoulder that she liked to bring to work.
And then she just disappeared.
Called in, they say. On the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
He squints and smiles at the black log.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not.
You could swear you see the embers glow again under the eyes on under his eyes on the dust. Edgar had someone make the call. Why was that?
She couldn't make the call herself
Here it is. The bend in the river.
Why?
because she was dead.
Just say nothing.
Say nothing.
The cow caught a bullet in her right lung, fell into the canal grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job and a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her and the ruins.
You shot her.
Someone shot her. Or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
A sputter again, nothing more.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk.
The lieutenant says in a voice even calmer, as if it were nothing at all.
We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Go shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything.
But you did do it.
I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol, late night. Everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
He looks to the city.
The same old freezing hatred.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball. One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A patank maniac, race traitor.
So this guy is basically just angry at everyone because they get to live a normal life while he is living this life that he has chosen to do. He could have come in at any time, and he's angry at anyone for having any fun. He's critical of every other person. He's just, general crotchety. I'm not even going to... There's no correcting this man. I'm just going to nod.
I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
With his shaky finger, he points to the city, toward the center near the plaza where a lonely pine tree
There doesn't
stands.
seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
Just not.
Fat and plump, like a pheasant, just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross, shoot me.
You'd like to kill him?
Not yet. I like to look at him strut around, place the crosshair on his medals, right on his face, and just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bomb melt in my mouth.
Ah, you like bonbons.
Save the treat for later?
The lieutenant asked cheerfully.
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat. for the black day, the blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Rene. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel.
He lets out a wistful sigh.
Better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one. For him.
The
Haven't
lines
seen
on
him
his
around
face.
lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood.
He's dead.
Hearing it may destabilize him. You sure you've gotten everything from him?
Renee's dead. He died of old age a couple days ago.
No,
Yep.
I waited too long. I waited too long and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
That's a good way of putting
They're
it.
all dead now. Fuck it.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
You cared about him?
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. Now, God damn this world.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
It's a wonderful conversationalist. Are you okay to go on?
You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
I'm glad we talked about this. Now,
Glad we talked about what?
I mean, I don't have good composure. I'll try it. Whatever.
For a 60-year-old man with stomach trouble who spent his entire life alone on an uninhabited island, he seems surprisingly fit.
That's it?
He's prone to erratic hand gestures and clearly malnourished. But that's it. You can see no more by looking at his slouched frame. The moment passes, and you say,
I'm going to try to put points into it.
I ain't going anywhere.
No, he's not. Alright, there was a thought circling my head. I clicked it. Wow, you work hard? I do?
oh yes, you hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there, but you keep it real and provide.
I guess I do, yeah.
Yeah, like a horse, a workhorse, for hard work.
What hard work do I do?
Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000 steps down cracked asphalt, mosaic, sand, and linoleum after you re-emerged.
That's true.
That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way, and you won't let it break you. You ride.
I effing ride till I die.
That's just what it's like. Life and death. But you got gills on your side, baby. Got those black papers with the faces of the innocents on them. You bring in the Franco-Negros and the Solas.
Okay.
It ain't easy, but you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop, and a sprinter, and a money printer.
Oh, and there's pawning stuff off on Roy.
Yeah, you're in the sales business. Shake 'em for shit and then pawn it off. Law officer style.
You could say I took some money from Manana.
You didn't log that in as a donation either. You don't log any of that shit in. You're a straight rider.
I also made that dude give me some money.
Can't say that. You shook him. You're a killer. A shark.
I guess I did make some money.
Sure. And has it been easy? Is life easy? Have you not gone into cardiac arrest? Are you not about to have an anxiety attack or shoot yourself in the mouth. But you still hustle 24/7, ride or die. Now, ask yourself, are you rich?
No.
That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave, and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that?
The system's broken.
Boo-hoo. The system is broken. The establishment is keeping me down. That's not the fuck yeah attitude you're used to. What is this? Why are you so poor?
I don't know. Why am I so
Because
poor?
of the taxes.
Oh.
G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky fingers in your pocket, stealing from you every time you buy, sell, walk, talk, fart, so much as sneeze. Aren't taxes almost non-existent in the Gotham estate that is Revachol?
I thought there were no taxes.
You and I both, but they got those indirect modes of taxation. Sales tax, excise duty, extraction tax. This tax that doesn't even have a name. Plus, there's the stuff people in other countries pay for that makes them ask for more money from you here. The Gotham estate's a myth. In total, the coalition government is taking 98% of all your money.
No way. I guess I'm a free market fundamentalist
Here
now.
you go, hustler. Fight the righteous
That's
fight.
right.
Free the people. Keep it real.
I'll keep it
Keep
real.
it street.
Yep,
Keep foaming at the mouth furiously on the tax issue.
I will. Alright, so now let's first look at gear to see what I have for composure. Composure is... I don't know if I have anything that does this. Oh, it's yellow. And I've got these shoes. What do these shoes do? Perception? Nah. Get that composure. Woof, I'm bad at this. Alright, well, we'll put a point into it anyway. Well, for better or worse, I've maxed this out. So there's nothing I can do. I might as well boost up interfacing, hand-eye coordination. I'm just going to reset a bunch of stuff right here. Conceptualization, there you go. I leveled up a ton.
The old man stares despondently at the logs. It's like a sign
Darn.
from a rare, erratic
All right,
hand
fine.
gesture.
What? But you said I would be taken to the...
You're under arrest for the murder of the Colonel here in Martinez, but you said I'd be taken to...
The sum of all the erratic movements, fidgeting, and mood swings he's been exhibiting.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? ... Do you understand?
But...
Kim, he's afraid.
No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He looks at the reeds, eyes submerged in growing terror.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Does it have room for 3?
Not really. We could escort him to the pier, then either one of us can take him inland while the other stays here, but...
But then, who watches him while you're coming back here?
Who watches him while I come back for you?
You come back for me? How about I go and send a boat back for you?
What is this farce? This is a fucking farce. I can't.
Lillian, you could ask her maybe.
Maybe I could just ask the nitpicker to watch him.
This is no harmless old man.
This fucking world. This world. What is this?
Below the confusion and rage, a fit of jamais vu like yours? The thought passes, more pressing matters to take its place.
Listen now.
Okay, fine.
There
Oh, we got
is
it.
Again, to your north, as it has been since you came to the coast.
Oh, is
The
it
reeds
that bird
whisper,
again?
Stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it,
What?
something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat.
Kim, do you hear that?
What?
What are you talking about? Is this...
The old man's
Really?
voice
Yes.
drowns.
Your skin crawls.
What's this? What did I hear? Uh-oh, am I blacking out? My gosh, what is that? Some, like, praying mantis monster? Is it the cryptophasmid?
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds
It
from
is.
the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
What is that?
What are you talking about?
The giant stick insect.
There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head. You feel your legs shaking under you and your gun hand move to your holster to grab the gun.
There is, I see it.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
Kim, can you see it?
I can see it.
4 simple words.
He
thank
sees
God.
it.
If he can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence, its limbs long and slender.
Be very, very careful.
The lieutenant whispers, then takes a step toward the giant arthropod. Oh my goodness. Well, everyone, I thought, I've been going and going. I thought I was about to wrap it up. But now, there's more I need to do. And I think there might even be more after this. So I think we're going to leave it here so that we can really let this play out and explore all options and savor the end of Disco Elysium, if that is indeed where we are. We've got a confession, we've got this old man, and lo and behold, there's the Phasmid. Everyone, I hope you're still enjoying this like I am. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.